Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today, we're going to dig into Resilient by Rick Hanson.
Oh, this is a good one.
It is. It's all about building that lasting well-being. Think of it like strength training, but for your mind.
I like that. Mental muscles.
Right. But here's the thing, and this is what I found so interesting. Hanson points out this kind of crazy paradox about our brains.
Oh, yeah. The negativity bias.
Exactly. Our brains are like super wired to learn from bad experiences.
You're way more than good ones.
Yeah. Which I guess explains why, like, one bad meeting can totally ruin your whole day.
Even if you had, like, a fantastic breakfast and a beautiful walk to work.
Totally. But if it's a bias, can we actually, like, rewire our brains to be more positive?
That's the good news. We can. And Hanson actually gives us a framework to do it.
Okay, I am so ready for this. Where do we even begin?
Well, we got to start with understanding this idea of the responsive mode.
Responsive mode. All right, lay it on me.
It's like, imagine being in this green zone. You feel safe, you're satisfied, connected. Basically, life is good.
Okay, I like the sound of this green zone.
Right. And Hanson uses this really cool analogy to explain it. He compares the brain to a 3-story house.
Okay, I'm always up for a good analogy. Tell me about this brain house.
So the ground floor, that's your brainstem, and that's all about survival. You know, basic needs like food, shelter, feeling physically safe.
Makes sense. Got to have that solid foundation.
Right. Then you go up to the second floor. That's your limbic system, where all those emotions and that sense of satisfaction happen.
Ooh, so this is like enjoying a good meal, feeling loved, the good stuff.
Exactly. And finally, the top floor, that's the cortex. This is where we connect with others, think about those big life questions.
Okay, so each floor is like a different need. And when all those needs are met, we're chilling in the green zone, that responsive mode.
Exactly.
But what happens when, like, one of those needs isn't met? Does the whole brain house start falling apart?
Not falling apart, but you definitely get out of that green zone. Let's say you're feeling kind of emotionally neglected.
Oh, like no one's appreciating you.
Right. So that second floor, your limbic system, feels a bit empty. And bam, you're triggered into reactive mode. Stress response kicks in. You're in the red zone.
Ah, it's like your brain's alarm system going off, even if there's no real danger.
Exactly. You might feel on edge, irritable, not your best self.
Totally. It's like when you haven't eaten in a while and suddenly everything is annoying.
Yes, exactly like that. And it's important to remember that stress response is meant to be short-term to deal with immediate threats.
Not like a permanent state of being.
Right.
So how do we, like, break free from this negativity bias, escape the red zone, and get back to that peaceful green zone more often? Hanson talks about this HEAL process, right?
He does. It stands for have a beneficial experience, enrich it, absorb it, and link it.
Okay, I'm taking notes here. Have, enrich, absorb, link.
Got it. But what does it actually mean to, like, enrich an experience? Is this like, I don't know, putting a little extra whipped cream on your dessert? Haha, kind of. It's about really staying with that positive experience. Don't just let it fly by. Like, let's say you get a really nice compliment from someone.
Oh, I love those.
Right. Instead of just brushing it off, pause and really savor it. Let yourself feel how good it feels. Maybe even notice where you feel it in your body.
So it's like taking a mental snapshot of that good feeling.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Then we absorb it. Does this involve a bathtub?
No bathtub needed. Think of it like consciously receiving that experience into yourself. Let it really sink in, become a part of you.
Okay, so it's not just noticing it, but letting it become part of who you are.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then link, this last step, that's optional, right?
It is optional,
Yeah.
but it can be super powerful. Linking is about connecting that positive experience to a negative one.
Oh, so it's like using the good feeling to soothe a bad memory.
Exactly. It can help heal old wounds and really change how we feel. Hanson himself used this process to deal with some self-criticism he struggled with. It wasn't a quick fix, but it literally changed his brain.
Wow, that's amazing. Talk about walking the walk. Okay, so we've got the foundation and the method. Now, what about those building blocks of resilience? Hanson talks about all these different inner strengths, right?
Yes. Self-compassion, mindfulness, gratitude, confidence, courage, even forgiveness.
It's like a buffet of awesomeness.
It is, and they're all connected. Think of them as the support beams that hold up that responsive mode house we talked about. They help you stay grounded in that green zone, even when things get tough.
Okay, I like that. So let's start with self-compassion. I feel like this one really resonates with a lot of people. It's about treating yourself with kindness, like you would a good friend, especially when you're struggling.
Right.
But what's cool is it's not just about feeling good. There's actual science behind it.
Yeah, it is. Research shows self-compassion can like boost your immune system, even improve your heart health.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. So it's not about letting yourself off the hook. It's about creating that safe space inside to acknowledge your struggles.
Yes. And to move forward with more clarity.
I love that. It's like being your own best cheerleader. Okay, so self-compassion, check. What about mindfulness? Everyone's talking about it these days, but what's it actually got to do with resilience?
Well, imagine mindfulness as like hitting the pause button on autopilot.
Okay.
It's about becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings, in this moment without judging them.
So you're not trying to like shut down your feelings. You're just observing them.
Exactly. And that creates space between you and your reactions, which gives you more control.
Makes sense. It's like stepping back from the edge of that emotional cliff before you jump off. But how does that actually help with resilience?
Well, imagine you're stuck in traffic and you start feeling that road rage bubbling up.
I know that feeling all too well.
Right. Mindfulness helps you notice that anger, you acknowledge it without judgment, and then you can choose a different response.
Instead of like laying on the horn and yelling at everyone.
Exactly. Maybe you take a few deep breaths or listen to some calming music.
Or remind yourself that getting angry won't actually make the traffic move any faster.
Right. It's about taking back control of your emotional roller coaster.
I like that. You're in the driver's seat, choosing where you want to go.
Oh.
Okay, so we've got self-compassion, mindfulness. What about gratitude? It seems so simple, but is it really that powerful?
It really can be. It's about actively appreciating the good things in your life, savoring them, and expressing thanks.
Like that first sip of coffee in the morning.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, research shows that practicing gratitude actually can rewire your brain to focus more on the positive.
So it's like training your brain to look for those silver linings, even when things are tough.
You got it.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Hey.
We've got self-compassion, mindfulness, gratitude. What's next on this resilience buffet?
Confidence. And Hanson is really clear that this isn't about being arrogant or perfect.
Oh, good. Because I'm definitely not perfect.
None of us are. It's about recognizing your own worth, acknowledging your strengths, and trusting your abilities.
I like that. So it's not about strutting around like you're the best. It's about that quiet inner knowing that you're capable.
That's it. It's like that feeling you get when you've finally mastered a new skill.
Or like finally finished that project you've been putting off forever.
Yes. That sense of, I did it. It helps you face those uncertainties in life.
So how do we build that kind of confidence? Is it all about those positive affirmations and power poses?
Those can be helpful. But real confidence comes from knowing yourself, accepting your flaws and your strengths, and then taking action.
So it's about proving to yourself that you can handle challenges, even if you stumble along the way.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What about courage? Does that mean we have to, face our biggest fears head on all the time?
Well, remember, courage isn't about not feeling fear. It's about feeling it and doing it anyway.
So it's about acknowledging those butterflies in your stomach, but taking that step forward anyway.
Yes, like asking for that raise, even though you're terrified of being rejected.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. And courage is also important for healthy relationships, right?
Absolutely. It allows you to be authentic, to set boundaries, and to say what you need to say.
Even when it's tough. Okay, courage, check. Now, what about aspiration? I feel like this one is so expansive. How does it fit in with resilience?
Aspiration is about, aligning your actions with your values and going after what really matters to you. It's having a vision for your life.
So it's about having dreams and actually doing something about them. But what if those dreams feel impossible, or I'm afraid of failing?
That's where having a growth mindset comes in. It's about embracing those challenges as opportunities to learn, not threats to your ego.
Oh, I like that. So it's about knowing it's okay to fail, to stumble, to course correct along the way.
Exactly.
Okay, aspiration. Got it. And finally, there's forgiveness. This one can be so tough. I'm curious to hear what Hanson has to say about it.
He does dedicate a whole chapter to it. He emphasizes how powerful forgiveness can be. It can free us from all that resentment.
So it's not about condoning bad behavior or letting people off the hook.
No, not at all. It's about acknowledging the pain you've experienced, honoring your feelings, and then choosing to let go of the anger.
It sounds incredibly powerful, but also incredibly challenging. How do you even begin to forgive someone who's really hurt you?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely dig into more later.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. So we've covered a lot of ground here. What stands out to you so far?
For me, it's that whole idea of rewiring our brains for resilience. It's so empowering to know we can actually change how we respond to things. What about you?
I'm really resonating with that mindfulness and gratitude combo. Seems so simple, but so powerful. I also want to learn more about those specific challenges to resilience, like taming the inner critic and dealing with difficult people. That's where the rubber meets the road.
Absolutely. And we'll dive into all of that. But for now, maybe our listeners can think about which of those inner strengths really speaks to them. Which one feels like the most powerful tool for them right now?
That's a great question to ponder. We'll be back soon to explore those challenges and dig even deeper into the practical tools from Resilient. Stay tuned.
One of the biggest things that gets in the way of resilience, it's that feeling of helplessness.
Oh, yeah. Like you're stuck and there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly. And it can really eat away at you. But Hanson has this interesting idea about it. He says we should focus on where we do have control, even if it's just in our own minds.
Okay, so even when things feel totally out of control, there are still choices we can make.
Right. It might be small stuff like what music you listen to, or even just taking a few minutes to go outside. Those little things can actually make a difference.
It's like reminding yourself you're not totally powerless. I like that.
Yeah. And speaking of taking back control, another big challenge to resilience is that inner critic we talked about.
Oh, the inner critic. Mine never seems to shut up.
Haha, I think we all have that voice in our heads sometimes. But Hanson gives us some tools to quiet it down and replace it with some self-compassion.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
How do we tame that inner critic?
Well, first, you got to become aware of it. Notice when it pops up without getting totally sucked in.
So it's not about ignoring it or fighting it, just noticing it's there.
Exactly. And then once you see it, you can start to question it. Like,
Yeah.
Is it really true? Is it helpful? Is it even kind?
Just like bringing a little reality check to those harsh judgments.
Right. And then you can try to reframe those thoughts. So instead of, I'm a total failure, you might say, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm learning.
So it's about moving from beating yourself up to being kind to yourself, even when you mess up.
Exactly. And Hanson reminds us this is a practice. You won't silence that inner critic overnight, but keep at it, and you'll start to shift things.
It's like training a puppy. You need patience and lots of positive reinforcement.
That's a great analogy. Okay, so another challenge to resilience is managing anger. Hanson talks about the costs of anger, to ourselves and our relationships.
Yeah, anger can definitely be destructive. But can it also be a good thing sometimes? Like when you see injustice and it motivates you to take action?
For sure. Anger can be a powerful force for positive change. But Hanson is careful to point out the difference between healthy anger, which is assertive, and unhealthy anger, which is often reactive and destructive.
So it's about channeling that anger energy in a way that's constructive.
Yes. And that starts with recognizing what triggers you. What are those underlying stressors that make you more likely to get angry?
Like if you're already stressed from a crazy day and then someone cuts you off in traffic.
Exactly. Knowing your triggers helps you manage them. Maybe you need to do some relaxation when you're feeling stressed, or communicate your needs better so you don't end up feeling resentful.
It's about getting to the root of the anger, not just trying to squash it down once it's already there.
Right. And Hanson gives some really practical advice for expressing anger in a healthy way, like taking a break to calm down before you have a difficult conversation, or using I statements so you can share your feelings without blaming the other person.
It's about being assertive, not aggressive.
Yes. Now, another challenge we often face is those difficult people in our lives. The ones who just push your buttons.
Yeah, we all know those people, the ones who are always complaining or gossiping.
Right. It's tough to stay positive when you're around that kind of energy. But Hanson has some great advice on how to handle these relationships, how to protect yourself without shutting down or getting resentful.
Okay, so what's the secret to dealing with these energy vampires?
Well, you have to recognize when a relationship needs some work. Maybe you need to have a tough conversation or set some boundaries, or even limit how much time you spend with that person.
That can be hard, especially if it's someone close to you.
It can be, but Hanson's really clear. It's important to protect yourself. And healthy boundaries actually help you build stronger relationships in the long run.
So it's not about being selfish. It's about taking care of yourself so you can actually show up for those relationships.
Exactly. And he also talks about trying to see the whole person even when you're angry or hurt.
So even those difficult people have their own struggles.
Yeah. And that can help you feel more compassion. And compassion is often the first step towards forgiveness.
That can be a tough one.
It is. But remember, holding on to that anger and resentment only hurts you in the end. It doesn't change the other person.
So forgiveness is about letting go of those negative feelings for your own sake, not theirs.
You got it. Now, another challenge Hanson brings up is letting go of unrealistic expectations. He says we need to know when to quit, when to make peace with things we can't control.
Ah, that's so important. It's so easy to get caught up in trying to do everything perfectly and achieve all of the things.
Yeah.
But sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is just let go.
Right. And Hanson says that doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It's about being smart with your energy.
So pick your battles. Don't waste your energy on things you can't change.
Exactly. And sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is walk away from something that's not working anymore. Make space for something new.
I love that. And speaking of making space for something new, Hanson talks a lot about aspiration.
He does. He says we all have dreams, even if we've forgotten about them. And going after those dreams with passion can really fuel your resilience.
So it's not just about surviving, it's about having something to look forward to, something that makes you feel alive.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be some huge, life-changing dream. Maybe it's learning a new skill or spending more time with loved ones.
It's about finding what brings you joy and then taking action, even if it's just baby steps.
Exactly. Don't wait for the perfect moment or for all your fears to disappear. Just start.
And trust that the path will unfold. I like that. But what about all the obstacles that get in the way? What about those fears and insecurities that keep us stuck?
Hanson has some great advice for that, too. He says you have to face those fears. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen, and can I handle it?
It's about realizing that even if you fail, you'll be okay.
Right. And remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey.
It's feedback, a chance to learn.
Exactly. And Hanson also talks about finding the right arena for your aspirations.
What does that mean?
Well, some things are just not a good fit for us no matter how hard we try. You have to be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses and choose things that align with your natural talents and passions.
It's like decluttering your life, getting rid of the things that don't bring you joy.
Exactly. And he also talks about how to handle the ups and downs of going after your dreams.
Because there are always going to be ups and downs.
For sure. So celebrate your successes no matter how small they are. Learn from your failures without letting them define you.
Stay motivated. Keep your eyes on the prize.
Right. And don't be afraid to lean on others for support.
Find your people, your cheerleaders.
Exactly. And remember, the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
It's about enjoying the ride, even when it gets bumpy.
I think that's a great note to pause on. We've covered a lot about aspiration. Before we move on to the final piece of this resilience puzzle, maybe our listeners can take a moment to reflect on what they've learned so far.
I agree. This has been a lot to take in. What are some of the key takeaways that stand out to you? I'm really struck by how all these inner strengths, they work together.
Yeah.
Like you can't really have confidence without self-compassion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And courage. It goes hand in hand with aspiration. It's not like you just pick one. It's about building this whole, I don't know, like inner support system.
Yeah, totally. It's like those support beams in the responsive mode house. Each strength makes the others stronger, right? It creates a more stable foundation for like everything.
Exactly. And speaking of foundations, I think we got to go back to forgiveness. We touched on it earlier, but it feels so central to this whole resilience thing.
It is, and it's often the hardest one, but Hanson says it's also one of the most powerful. It's like finally letting go of this huge weight you've been carrying around.
Okay, but how do you actually do that? How do you forgive someone who's really hurt you? It can feel impossible.
I know. It's not easy. Hanson's really clear that it's a process, not just a one-time thing. And it starts with honestly asking yourself, is holding on to this anger helping me? Is it moving me forward?
So you acknowledge the pain, but you don't let it control you.
Right. And remember, forgiving doesn't mean saying what happened was okay or forgetting about it. It's about choosing to let go of the anger that's keeping you stuck.
It's about freeing yourself from the past.
Yes. And Hanson suggests trying to see the whole person, not just their bad actions, but, they're human. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has struggles.
It's about seeing our shared humanity, even when it's really hard.
Exactly. It doesn't excuse what they did, but it might help you understand. And understanding can lead to compassion, and compassion is where forgiveness starts.
But what about boundaries? If you forgive someone, does that mean you have to let them back into your life, even if they keep hurting you?
That's such a good question, and Hanson is really clear about this. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting yourself be a doormat. It's about creating safety for yourself. even in tough relationships.
You can have forgiveness and boundaries.
Absolutely. In fact, boundaries are often a really important part of forgiveness. It's about protecting yourself while still choosing to let go of the anger.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Like you're not giving them permission to hurt you again.
Exactly. And in the end, forgiveness is really about self-compassion. It's about freeing yourself from that anger and resentment so you can find peace.
It's about healing, even if the other person never takes responsibility.
You got it. You know, something that really struck me about all this is that Hanson isn't just talking about individual resilience. He's talking about a more resilient world.
Oh, that's right. He talks about how all these inner strengths, they can actually ripple outward, affect our relationships, our communities, even society.
Exactly. Think about it. When you're grounded in self-compassion, you're going to treat other people better. When you're mindful, you're more present. When you're grateful, you radiate that positivity.
It's like a chain reaction of good stuff. And if more people are resilient, the world becomes a more compassionate, supportive place for everyone.
Yes. Hanson's saying that building inner strength isn't just about you, it's about making a positive difference in the world.
I love that. Okay, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We've talked about the responsive mode, the heal process, all those inner strengths, those challenges, and of course, forgiveness. But before we go, maybe we should try to sum it all up. Ready for a top 10 list of takeaways from Resilient.
I love a good top 10 list. Let's do it.
Okay, number 1, resilience is a skill. You're not born with it, you can learn it.
Number 2, our brains love to focus on the negative, but we can change that. We can intentionally focus on the positive.
Number 3, that heal process, remember. Have, enrich, absorb, link, use it. Turn those good experiences into lasting strength.
Number 4, all those inner strengths we talked about, self-compassion, mindfulness, gratitude, confidence, all of those, they're the keys to building resilience.
Number 5, don't forget your basic needs like safety, satisfaction, connection. Those are the foundation of well-being.
Number 6, be kind to yourself. Challenge that inner critic with compassion.
Number 7, figure out what triggers your anger and learn how to express your needs in a healthy way.
Number 8, boundaries, 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 especially with those difficult people.
Number 9, let go of those unrealistic expectations. You can't control everything.
And last but not least, number 10, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It frees you from resentment.
Wow, that's quite a list. So much wisdom in there. Hope our listeners are feeling inspired to put all this into practice.
Me too. And remember, this resilience thing, it's a journey. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
You are stronger than you think. You really do have everything you need to build a life full of well-being and resilience. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Resilient. And until next time, keep diving deep and keep cultivating that inner strength.